Hello everyone, welcome to another video of mine. If you haven't been on my channel, welcome. I appreciate you stopping by. And if you've been on my channel, looked around, surfed around on my channel, see what's there, what's popping, I appreciate you coming back and watching this video. This video will be about Pro Wrestling Sim that you see right in front of you on the screen. I was about to say TV screen, but this may not be a TV screen for you. It may be a monitor screen, and it may be a laptop, and it may be a cell phone. So it may not just be a TV screen. It could be, but I'd probably not be a TV screen. But anyhow, I haven't posted in a while because I just now got a new PC, getting a setup and everything. And now, since I kind of got it, I am going to start posting videos of games that I have on my PC that I had on my laptop, but my laptop would fry if I had these games on for like 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and that is not good. That is like, you can't record anything in 30 minutes. I mean, you could, but then your computer would fry and everything, and it just would not be, worth, the time of, okay, there goes 30 minutes, and then you have to restart and everything. So now I've got these games on my PC. There will be, this game that I have right in front of you, and there will be more. But I also want to mention, because I have recently been posting a lot of the NASCAR Heat 4 game. Yeah, it's a little bit old. And at the time when, the NASCAR Heat 5 was coming out, it just seemed like the only change was you can actually DNF. So was it really worth, playing the game if I didn't really play the NASCAR games at first until, I started doing something with it? Because I'll play it for like maybe, overall a month, roughly a month and a half, and then I'd just be done with the games because I'd be more towards, other games and not really necessarily play it. So would it be worth my time to, buy the Heat 5 with the only difference of the DNF? So I did not get that, and I was doing, NASCAR Heat 4. But it also kind of leaves like a cliffhanger, so to speak, because of I haven't really finished all the way through the Xfinity series. I haven't finished through, the Monster Energy / Nationwide series, so to speak, because I've just kind of implemented the dirt and the trucks and everything all going around in a circle. And so I may go back to it, I may not go back to it. So just giving you an FYI, if you're also one looking for where's the NASCAR game videos and stuff like that, I may not go back to it. I may try to, but within now I've got upgraded technology and whatnot that I have games that I can now record and play for you guys for more variety, entertainment, so to speak. I will be focusing more on those than I will be on my PS4 that the NASCAR Heat 4 game was on. So, that being said, I will be showing you, the introduction of this series. This series is a 50-state company wrestling battle. And that being said, this game is off of Steam. It has a Discord server. It has a discussion page on the community hub tab and stuff like that. There's discussions on this game. It's evolving, I would say quickly, but there's sometimes there's an update every month, and then sometimes, depending on the developers and what they need to do, it may take a few months for an update. But they do send updates on the Discord. They do send updates on the Steam for when there is updates, future updates, bug fixes, and all that fun jazz. Because on Steam, it still says it's early access. It is $19.99, so $20, including the tax. Kind of on the cheap end compared to some games, but it could be also in the middle of the road, depending on how you look at it. With kind of roughly games of like are normally $60, and it's $20. So found this off of Steam, and then was looking through their Discord and their Steam, and that they're saying this is kind of like TEW, Total Extreme Wrestling. I've never played that game. This was like the first game I found because I wanted a GM mode on WWE, because I was remember of watching on YouTube that people were playing GM mode, and then it wasn't there, and then they were saying that they were going to do it in 2022 and that they weren't and whatnot. But obviously we found out that they did do in 2022. And was looking at this game and thought it would be cool because you hire your own superstars by looking at what their, whether if they're face or heel. You can always change it. But on that criteria, how old they are, weight and everything, because you could make championship titles based off of weight, like the cruiserweights in WWE are always like 205 pounds and below. Their star power, what their, like psychology or whatnot, like how they can tell a story and how they can manipulate their character to run a certain way, and all that stuff on if they've just started in the scene or if they've been in the scene for 15-20 years, so they have that star power, and it goes up to like 0 to 99 being the best and 0 being they have nothing. But throughout this game, attributes do change depending on the wins and losses and the angles, meaning promos and stuff like that they call angles, videos and stuff like that, and how a wrestling show goes. And so I will be showing you the database and stuff on how the United States battle is going to happen, that I will be controlling Wisconsin to start off with, and then slowly but surely each state is going to be implemented throughout time within the series, whether it be I have a calendar year with the Wisconsin wrestling promotion, and then the next door neighbor I'm going to add Minnesota, and then for a while, maybe 1 year after adding Minnesota in the game, I'll add Illinois, Michigan, or any just random state, so to speak. That will be the next promotion, and I keep doing that until I get all 50 states and see how it goes and whatnot. And then there'll also be a big promotion like a WWE or whatnot that is big. That will be like the United States All-Star Wrestling, because I've basically putting the state's name All-Star Wrestling at the end to make it, conformity and all, neat, and that way there's no, chaos that I have to remember and stuff like that, that just making it All-Star Wrestling, like it's like the best of the best within their regions, or who they hire within their crew to create the best wrestling promotion throughout time. This could be, multiple years. Obviously, if I did one promotion per year, it's going to be 50 years. But it may be like one every like 3 months or something like that, or even 6 months. Because this continues ongoing, like universal mode in WWE 2K, where it just keeps going in a circle, and it'll keep going as long as the game goes, or as long as you want it to go, depending on what you want to do. If you're making a custom promotion with custom downloaded people, or you've made your create a superstar, and so to speak. So that's what kind of this is as well. You can create the belts, you can create the superstars if you want to, but it also auto generates superstars for you as well. So you can have, create that, create a couple of superstars that you want and feel that are good within you want in the world. And then you can have default people that comes throughout within the database, the game world, and every so within that. So we're going to get into the database, and I have these other stuff set up because I also, as you can see, like streaming series. I also stream on Twitch. The description will, or the link will be in the description down below if you want to check that out or whatnot. Feel free. I've played COD mainly on there, and also Madden or NBA, trying to do like team collective of trading players and rebuilding through the draft or free agency and stuff like that, doing rebuilds that I've done every so often, and so on and so forth. And then there will also be another series that I'll do, which is the main promotions of like WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, New World, Japan, and there's probably multiple more that I'll have them in a game, and I'll just let it sim out, like, because it's going to start, because they're going to start at 0, so I'll like sim a month and see where everyone's at and stuff like that, and sim another month, and month by month, and see how it goes. Then eventually expand, because they'll start off at AEW and WWE, then I'll eventually expand into the more of Impact and Ring of Honor and stuff like that, and keep it kind of realistic, because Impact and Ring of Honor is connected with AEW, because Tony Khan bought them, unless if Impact is still individualized and they just have business partner agreements. But I know for sure they bought Ring of Honor, so it's at least a 2 promotion thing. But it seemed like Tony Khan, or whatever they did, that he bought it out, but they still kept the ownership of Impact to keep it running the way that they want it to. So it's like he's in charge of it, but they still have their operations that way. There may be no turmoil within that company of like, yeah, this sucks, I don't want this, writer or whatnot. And if they keep the people and it makes them happy, they're able to create a product for the people in the world. So I am going to select this US state YT series, and this will pop up in your database as well. Overall, in general, if we go back, if you didn't create anything else, the World at War down at the bottom will be the default one, because if you buy the game, this is the default world that it automatically comes with it. So you'll have this in the beginning, and then if you click on it, you'll have people installed and everything, and you can do a little tweaking and whatnot within that database as well. It's not like you have to make your own in order to futz with the settings and everything. So we're going to go back to the United States YT Series 1. And then this will be kind of the menu that you can look at, or you'll look at when you try to create your own promotions and workers and titles and venues. And if you have, wrestlers in it that you can, create off the bat right away, or like it says here, modify the tag teams within the world, and relationships you can modify. You can create networks, but there's also like helpful scripts on the bottom left that I will show you as well, that you can click on these and it will, give you like default countries and regions that the developer has made. So if you click on it, that it will already pop up for you. Since I've already, clicked on it, I won't want to click it on it again, because then it's going to create double. And I don't want double. I just want the single of the countries and the regions. So, if you were to go in the game world, so to speak, the one thing is for this, so to speak, section is the main important thing is the worker generation. If you use the default world, it will automatically have it on low. Every single time you create a new database, it will automatically have it as low. This is the setting on, since I am not creating anybody, so to speak. I'm not pre-making people. I am not pre-making the WWE people. I'm not pre-making AEW and all that stuff, or just overall not making any workers that do refereeing, announcing, and everything. So I would be putting this on high. The reason being is if you have it on low, it's like a low number of people that will be coming in. But I'm going to put it on high right away because eventually there's going to be more promotions. And I think it's overall within, supply demand on what there is for work and everything within the game. It will reflect on overall what is being generated. So I'm going to put it on high. That way you get a lot of workers, but you won't get anybody who has been in the field for, because I've done it a few times, that what I've seen is you don't get people that have been in it for like maybe 10 years. That you'll get people that have been in it for less than a year, so they're going to be like 21 years old, maybe 23, or even 19 or 18 years old. So they're still pretty young yet, that you can still use for, quite a bit of time. But their skills and everything, that if you would want them to develop in a certain way, that it's going to take a long time for that to happen. And especially everyone's want to be in the main event, so it's like everyone's at the same spot. So there's a little bit of difference when it comes to star power and everything, but when it comes to, overall, workload, they don't have many matches under their belt, so they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna may not perform as well, and especially with the spotlight, it's like treating it like it's an actual event. Like there are things that happen. There's mistakes. There's flops. There's what we call bloopers in a video or something like that. Like there's gonna be that in this game, and it's going to reflect on the reports per match, so to speak. And then for this setting is disable aging effects. I always want to keep it as no, because if you put it as yes, that means they're aging. They can play forever. Now, if you're thinking of this as a sandbox game and you don't want people, to kind of like die or whatnot, and if they do it, things happen, like maybe a car crash, overdose, like within actual wrestling knowledge of, some people, they do OD on drugs and stuff like that, where, that could possibly still happen, but their aging effects of when they get older, they're going to continue wrestling and it's not going to stop. Where if you put it as no, it's going to be like more realistic of, okay, you are 45, you're 50, you're like in your 45, 50, where you're pretty much close to being done with your career because your body can't take the damage as they were when you were, so to speak, what they call a spring chicken at, 18 to 25 years old. That your body can't hold up to that much impact. So I always keep it as no. That way it puts the realism in the game. And then you always have to make sure you hit save whenever you save something, because if you were to go back to it, it will not save. And it will revert back to what it was before. So if I didn't hit save, that would have still been low. So we're going to go back. I've done some making of, titles and whatnot. So I'll show you those screens and what they look like. So if you were to get the game, or if you have played the game for a while and you haven't been in this, so to speak, setup or, design, now you know the operations behind the settings. And so for promotions, we're going to go into promotions. There's only 2 promotions because I'm starting, as it works out, I'm adding them in. So I'm not going to add them all in right at the bat. I'm kind of stretching it out that I'm not going to put so much work on myself to, okay, now it's ready for the next one. So I'll add, Michigan, Illinois, or whatever state I so choose. Could be even Alaska. Whatever state I choose, that it'll be added after, Minnesota's been active into the thing for a certain amount of time. Because right now the key thing for their status is it's inactive. And inactive meaning they're not a company as of right now. That they're in the system, but they're just not a company. Where Wisconsin, if we look at it, it's active. And now I could change this as well. Because before I didn't have the script of the regions and countries. So I'm going to change that as well. And so within this, so to speak, menu, you have the full name of the promotion. You have the short name, so the full name of Wisconsin All-Star Wrestling, and then the short name, like for World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, I put WASW, Wisconsin All-Star Wrestling. Parent promotion is meaning that if Wisconsin was below Minnesota All-Star Wrestling and they're together, kind of like Ring of Honor with AEW. AEW is the top seniority, brand company, and Ring of Honor is like right down below. So it's like, so to speak, of if people need developmental, they would send them down to, the child promotion, so to speak. So if like Wisconsin was below Minnesota, so I'd be putting Minnesota here, and that Minnesota contracted employees would if they need development, would come down to Wisconsin and be in the promotion. They're still with Minnesota, but they're developing for a certain amount of time, and then they can go back to Minnesota, or they do both while they're training and getting better. They're also in part of storylines within the Minnesota All-Star Wrestling. But since there is none, it's going to be none. And then I have no owner, I have no booker because there's no people in it. It's more than likely you're putting like the agents or whatnot that are the owner and the booker. And if you put someone in the booker that are like the backstage staff, agents, and stuff like that, you put them in there. And then when it comes to booking a event, you can hit auto book, and then it gives the best lineup that they think is possible for that night. Obviously, you can change it after that, so it kind of becomes custom because you went from their default of what they think should happen to, okay, now you're going to switch it, whether it be you rip it completely or you just switch a few things and you move around, an angle from saying close to the main event to, close to the middle or even the beginning of the show, and whatnot. So there is a style that there's multiple drop downs. I put sports entertainment because that's kind of what is around here, but they also say it's traditional wrestling too as well. But I'm just keeping it at, kind of a standard. It's sports entertainment and whatnot. You can set the money. So right now I have it as $100 million that each company is going to start off with, so that way they can get their staff. If they do have a bad month or two, that they still have a lot of money that they can, survive on, and hiring employees and keep hiring and stuff like that. Because eventually maybe they'll have different brands, whether it be like one or two brands. So then they'll have, a bufferage of money. The public image, I just set it at 0 because they're going to have to work their way up, so to speak. And then what it's based off of, where, since North America, and there's only 2 countries that they have in North America for it, they should add Mexico to it, but within this game they didn't add Mexico unless if it's kind of the South, or the South America, but it should be in the North America. And then, where it's based off of in Wisconsin, based off of that answer right there, and that it is active because I will be starting it. And then for event schedule, you can have this, there's 2 options. You can have it automatically based on the size of the promotion, or you can manually set it. Manually setting it is you create the times, whether it be annually, monthly, weekly, like you set every single thing for them. Or if you did it automatic based off of the promotion size, since it is so small, it's going to be like 1 event per month, which may be a Debbie Downer if you're trying to do it weekly, because if you start from 0, you're going to have to work your way up, and that's where your budget is going to increase when you work your way up, that you have more views, you have more sponsorships, you have more ratings, because they've added network deals and stuff like that. So the more money and the more popularity you have, the more you can expand and what you can do for events wise, because it can get pretty expensive with the salaries. They added a drug testing policy for this stuff as well, that I'm probably going to change this to yes, that you can make it however you want. You can have it absolutely no drug testing that is required. For me, I'm having full scale and seeing how it is. I haven't really tested the drug testing. This is new to me. I've played it where it wasn't even available, like they've added the production to as well, so I'm playing with that too as well as going on with the series. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, playing it along as throughout the series, and learning it as I'm giving you guys the entertainment and stuff. So since I did make a change, I gotta make sure I save the changes, because otherwise that's gonna continue to say no, and I'm gonna be like, what? I thought I changed it to yes. But since I didn't hit save changes, it did not change. But that is the promotion, so to speak, menu when it comes to the front part of it. And then you can add brands, the relationship, and the contracts of the employees that are in your brand. So that is overall the brand, so to speak, or the promotion menu. And then country and regions, it's when you hit that helpful script, this will pop up, and it's North America, Latin America, that when you they added Mexico to it. It should be in North America. But the continents are there, and then all the different countries, or for United States, it's the states that are the subregions, and then if there are subregions, like the subregions, for example, for like Wisconsin would be the counties and stuff like that. So obviously I'm not going to add that to it, because that it's a lot of work, and if I were to add it to every single country, every single state, it's going to take a long time. It may be cool to find out what the results are, like where you're getting the best audience from, but in reality it's going to take forever. And then you have the networks, and I'll show you the helpful scripts, where it's going to show where these networks, when you hit the script for it. And so it's a lot of different network deals that you can possibly get while you're playing the game that is generic. Obviously, you can add a network if you were to look through this and you don't agree that one is not in there. You can, so to speak, add it if you truly want. Because I don't feel like Twitch and YouTube is on here or something like that, or even like made websites like Fight TV is probably not on here because I haven't seen it on here. But the creator probably created just like a random list and just was using words and just creating it based off of the general location of where that main source was for. And then we can go to workers. You can add a worker. If you were to add a worker, this would be the menu that would pop up. You can change it to male, female, non-binary, and stuff like that, and have their sexuality, what type of person they are, whether if they're a wrestler, occasional wrestler, a referee, staff, announcer, on-screen personality, and if they're traditional or lucha libre, strong style, hardcore, high flying, and everything of that nature. Their body type, their height, their weight, what kind of ethnicity, their ethnic group, and where they're born, and all that fun jazz when it comes to that. Their background, are they an alcoholic? Have they used steroids, hard drugs, soft drugs? Have they been in an injury? What is their physical condition, so to speak? And throughout times when they're in matches, this is going to decrease. So it's not going to be 100 every single, day that you were to sim by. That after a match, it's going to go from 100 to maybe 90 or 85, something like that, depending on how tough the match may be. Because if you add props or whatnot, it's going to take more energy than if you have a normal match. So everything will be evolve around that information. And then the wrestling skill, from 1 to 100, what is their wrestling skill? Are they at a 99? Their stamina, are they at a 99 stamina? So they're pretty good, they're fresh, they're good to go, they could go right now. Or are they at 23 that you may be risking an injury and they may be out for a certain amount of time? The psychology, how they can play their character, how they can manipulate, how they can control what is happening within the situation, the safety. Are they safe with their other opponents? If they're not, you more than likely may not want them in your promotion because they're not safe, that they'll do a move and they'll disregard on your safety and your health. So with having that, maybe a bad of a rating may cause a few injuries within your locker room. And then entertainment, what kind of entertainment level are they refereeing? Are they basically a referee and they're good at it? Or are they a wrestler and they can be a referee, so like a special guest referee? Commentating, what is their commentating score? And then their road age and producing, how can they direct a show to the best of their ability? And then looks, appearance, star power meaning the top of the company, like Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, is probably a 9. It's basically an overall rating, within Madden or WWE 2K 22 or 23, that Roman Reigns, he's probably a 95 because he's such a good wrestler. And within him having the Universal and WWE Championship belt for so long, that he would be arguably a 90 to a 95. Intimidation, what can they do to throw their opponent or whoever off of what they're dealing with within a storyline? And then their popularity, it breaks down by per region. How popular are they in North America, Latin America, Asia, the ocean islands or Oceania area, Europe and Africa. And then their personal appearance, their personal traits, like are they an angry person, an annoying person, are they money hungry, are they respectful, in ring, are they more of a hardcore wrestler, are they a deathmatch wrestler, are they a great teacher, explosive, can they learn quickly, or are they a slow learner, and can they fast decline on their skills when they get older, or do they slowly decline, that they still have it in them for a certain amount of time. And then you got booking priorities, different. So if you were just to trust the agent, that these would be like their options. Like the first option could be like workers with wrestling skill, and then workers with star power. So they'd rather have somebody with a star power than wrestling skill. So they would put workers with a star power and stuff like that as their first one priority. And then, entertaining wrestlers could be their number two and stuff like that. So, then they have relationships. Who do they have a relationship with within the company or within the world? Their alter egos. Because most characters and most wrestlers have two or three, different alter egos or alterations that they can create their character to be different throughout time. Like for example, Cody Rhodes. He was, Cody Rhodes and stuff like that, and then he changed to Stardust for a while. Or another example is, The Undertaker. He was the American, badass, and then he becomes, the Phenom and stuff like that. So with having those two, having the American badass as an alter ego, because now he's more known as, the Phenom, and, the person that would wear the hat and he would put you in the grave to put you in the depths of hell, because that is kind of like his main one. But he was, the American badass as another different ego. And then what is their contract? Are they on contract for 3 months, or is it infinite, that it's just per appearance, like there's nothing gonna change, and stuff like that when it comes to the worker screen. So if you were to create a new worker, strictly from scratch, that's what you'd be looking at. We've seen the venues, we've seen the countries, the promotions, the game world, the relationships is basically like in the worker and promotion, so to speak. What relationships can you modify within, the promotion or within the worker menu and stuff like that. And then tag teams, you can add a tag team when there's people in here, so you can have a world set tag teams within it, that you could be like, yeah, they're going to be a tag team and they're going to be a tag team. So you can set them predetermined when it comes to this menu, or you can, get them together on the fly as you're trying to create a tag team division. And then you have contracts. You can add a contract to whoever, but since I have nobody employed, you'd select the worker and create a contract that way. Another thing is titles. So this would be the screen that you would see for the titles. That you would have a title name, when it was created, if it's active or inactive, who owns it. So Wisconsin All-Star Wrestling owns it. And then is it a singles, and gender limits. And also there is minimum and maximum weight limits, and prestigious, meaning how high of a rank of a belt is it within the company. So This is the top belt for the men, so I put it at 100, where the cruiserweight is still at 50, and it's a cruiserweight championship, so men that are over 205, they're not going to be able to go for the cruiserweight title. And then there's also like women's heavyweights. Oh, I didn't put the tag team for Wisconsin. There's an Oofy. But yeah, there's, you create the tag teams, women's tag teams. You may not even have a women's division, but I don't think that's an option. We can go back to see if that's an option, because normally, or when I did start playing this game, oh, there is. It's just down here. At first, it was up here that you can select, hey, are you going to have a women's division, or if you're not. Every single company, maybe, like, I would say single-handedly, that won't have a women's division, depending on this. It's either A, it depends on the state, or depend on, hey, I want to make change in that not every single company will have a women's division. So for the first few, they're all gonna have women's divisions, but there may be some companies where it's more men than it is women, so there won't be a women's division, because there are some companies that don't have a women's division. So I'm trying to keep it as realistic as possible within this game to the actual outside life in reality. So next, we'll go into seeing the contracts. Stables is basically kind of the same thing as the tag teams. That is just adding more than 2 people. It's more towards like in WWE 2K, where it has the 4 or 5 people that you can add. That's where you'd create a stable. And then events-wise, you can set to what the Wisconsin All-Star Wrestling live show would be, or taping, or anything else. And you can make it brand exclusive for how long you want it. So for example, I want it for 3 hours, want high importance, the event is active, and so if I were to hit save events, this would happen every month on the 4th Friday, on the 4th Saturday of every month. That's when they'll have a live show. That's what basically that is saying. So you can change it to monthly, weekly, annually. Obviously, depending on, if it's a big star pay-per-view to a normal show, you may do it annually, or you may do it monthly, or weekly, depending on what happens with how big your company is going to get. So keep in mind on when you're playing it through that your company is going to get bigger and bigger, or it could get smaller and smaller, but hopefully you find the algorithm, or you find a way to create great storylines and putting those storylines into play and creating good shows that the only way that your popularity is going to go is up. So I'm going to hit save event for right now. I'll go back and review it, as I totally forgot I have to manually set it, and it's not automatic based off of their population size, which is 0 at the moment. So with that being said, we have one more helpful screen to go through. That way you can see it, is the helpful scripts. So if by clicking, create default locations and creating generic networks, you click it and it'll say it's complete or it's done. You click OK, and then you can go to the next one. The ones that I am using for this series is fix when lost records. You just hit the run, which I've already done. I don't hit these other 3. And then I don't hit the stat thing because that just fluctuates their stats. I just want it to be, as perfect as possible, or, the most manageable that I can see what is happening within their career. And then the next one is the create default locations. So the U.S. states and the territories of the whole entire world. So you'd hit that. It would say complete or done. You hit the OK button, and same with the create generic networks. It'll say done, complete. Hit OK, and then I also hit the personality randomizer because I wouldn't want everyone to be the same. That you would want variety. You want someone who's arrogant. You want someone who's happy. You want someone who's angry. You want someone who's basically, anxious because they could be nervous that it's their first match, or the first bunches of matches until they get comfortable and everything else. I don't do the auto assigned pushes because for this I'm gonna want to push who I want to push and not necessarily have it auto assigned for the push. You can have it auto create events, creates a size appropriate set of events for every promotion in the game. So like right now, if I were to hit it, it would create one already for Wisconsin. Since it's so small, it would probably make it once per month. But since I want to create it myself, I wouldn't want to hit that as of right now. I may hit it later for the other states that are coming in, but then it may fluctuate with the Wisconsin All-Star Wrestling because of their size. After a while, that obviously it's going to hopefully increase, but it may not, increase drastically where the parameters still keep the same. And then I don't hit any of these down below here. I don't touch them. And then I also hit randomize contract expires. That is for also the AI that some contracts will end in 60 days so 2 months to 600 days, which I believe is 2 or 3 years. So it's very short within the game. And then other than that, I don't hit any of these down below, and I don't hit the conversion down below either, unless if I would need to. But those are the scripts that I run within this, so to speak, game world, and also in the game worlds that I also play otherwise in the other databases. So with that being said, this is the beginning of the series that I will be taking each state. We'll be starting with Wisconsin, as I will be controlling that. I may switch states, and I also know that within discussions that they're also trying to maybe have where you can buy the other companies. So if that's also a case while I'm doing this series, and if I have the opportunity to buy, the different states' promotions, I may do that. But everything is kind of standardized to what I've said within these parameters. That way everyone's on a level playing field, and there's no weirdness that could happen overall. So everyone will start at 0 when they come in, and not at 10 or 20. Because that's completely different, and me personally, I may not be up that high compared to them, so they will have a higher advantage when it comes to workers wanting to work with them, because they're going to go for the popularity and the for sure money. So this will conclude the video. Sorry if it is a very long video, but I just wanted to show some of the features in depth and take the time to show you and make it helpful for you, and also what I will be doing in this next coming up series within this game. This is prowrestlingsim. You can buy it off of Steam. I'll show you that page off of Steam real quick, that for what it shows on Steam. So if you were to download Steam, or if you go on steam.com, prowrestlingsim on the top, that's what it will show. It will have, this logo on the side as an icon for the game when you install it on your computer and whatnot. This will be the icon that will be the shortcut that's on your desktop. And then down below, since it's already in my library, that it is $20.99, purchasing for Windows and Apple. And then there's update stuff on it. So the last update was the 18th of January 2022, but I feel like there was a recent one than that, but that's what it shows the last update was. So that has been pretty far since the last update. But like I said, they do have a Discord server. People do post questions on the community tab on here that there is a discussion. If you were to go to the community hub on it, there is all, so it'll show, the development on what's happening. They'll also post this on the Discord server as well. So if you don't come to the Steam page to see what is being updated, the Discord server will have that information too as well on one of the channels, so to speak. And then to see the discussions on people asking questions, you'll click on discussions, and like you've seen, I'll open some of these to see what people are dealing with and what kind of questions they have, and if other people have answered them. So for example, we'll just look at this images on Steam Deck or whatnot, that they'll have their main header, what their question is or what their statement is, and the Pro Wrestling Sim will answer on here on the Steam page or on Discord. I feel like it's more beneficial on the Discord channel because they answer a little bit quicker on the Discord channel than they do on the Steam channel or on the Steam page. So hopefully that helps you out if you have been trying to look for a wrestling game. And I've kind of went in depth into it to show you what the game is all about and what the features are. But in the next video will be me starting month 1 or week 1, because I think I might start it weekly right away and see who I can sign and what kind of show I can run on the first day, with the amount of employees that I can hire between heels and faces and referees, backstage people, personality, managers, and all that fun jazz. And it will be a bit of a run. It's a marathon. It's not necessarily a sprint. So sorry if this gets very long. I just wanted to show you all the different features within this game. So that way, if you were to create a database on your own, otherwise you can go online and search mods like any game. There's mods for majority of the games that I know, whether it be like City Skylines or OpenTTD that I know has mods, and basically every game that I hear people playing have mods. Besides, I think like iRacing, because it's a website, there's no like modifications. Obviously there's like setting modifications, but there's not like outside mods that you can put into the game and create it a little bit easier. You sim race, and that's what you do. So hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and see you on the next one where the series will begin.